Alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Good afternoon, children. How is everyone? Hope that everyone is well. Everyone is learning and enjoying your learning, isn't it? Now, today we are going to discuss a paper. If you remember, I'd asked you to attempt the paper February, March 2023 yourselves. And today we are going to assess our paper. We are going to see that whether we have attempted it the way we are supposed to attempt. Okay, so we'll check your answers while I am explaining the concepts. If you have a query, then definitely you can raise your concern. This is your paper 2 0478, which is double 2. Computer Science paper 2, Algorithms, Programming and Logic, February, March 2023, 0478 double 2. Paper is of 1 hour 45 minutes duration. You are supposed to answer on the question paper. No additional materials are needed. You have to answer all the questions. Use a black or a dark pen, as you all know. You may use an HB pencil in case you have to draw some diagrams or graphs. You have to write your name, center number, and candidate number in the boxes that are given at the top of the page. Write your answer to each question in the space given. Do not use an erasable pen at all, please. Do not write on any barcodes. Calculators must not be used in this paper. The paper is of 75 marks, and the number of marks are given at the end of each question or the end of each part question within brackets. Please remember, no marks will be awarded in case you are using the brand name of software packages or hardware. So please be cautious. You are not supposed to do this at all. Now, this is my first question. Tick one box to show which word accurately describes the scope of a variable declared in a procedure. I can see procedure. I hope that we all know. The scope of a variable means that how much you can, like its visibility, how much it is accessible. So just find it out which word accurately describes the scope of a variable declared in a procedure. Inside a procedure, it won't be a function. Definitely you're going to strike off the option completely. Subroutine, definitely, if you remember, subroutine is going to be, you can say something that is going to help you in performing some activity repeatedly, which can be a function or a procedure. Now, then it's going to be global or local. Since the scope is declared inside a procedure, so it means the right answer is going to be the local variable. I hope that is very much easy to comprehend and answer. If you have actually learned the way to can say divide and then find out that which one is the right option. 4 descriptions and 5 pseudocode statements are shown. Draw one link to each description. Draw one line to link each description to its most appropriate pseudocode statements. Not all pseudocode statements will be used. A statement to count. Demonstrates counting. So that is why +1. So you found that value equals to value +1 is the right option. So you have actually drawn a line. And please remember, you have to draw a line. And if you think that you are making it a little messy, then you can draw a line with pencil and use a scale to make it more, I can say, neater. Your work should be neat, please. So use pencil, use scale so that your lines are drawn appropriately. A statement to total. Again, remember that total means the same variable repeated and a new variable. So that is why value equals to value plus new value is the right option. A statement to start a precondition loop. So again, you can recall conditional loops are pre or post. So repeat is a post condition loop and while is a precondition loop. So that is why a statement to start a precondition loop is while value is less than 10 do, and a statement to start a post condition loop will be repeat. And you can see for count equals to 1 to 10 is not to be used in this question. But by the way, if I ask you for count equals to 1 to 10, which word strikes your mind? Yes, Which kind of loop structure is for? That's great, Ali. It's actually a count control loop. So if the question was dealing with count control loop, then you will definitely link that definition, that description with the for box. Okay, understood? Now, write an algorithm in pseudocode using a single loop to output the average of 50 numbers that have been stored in the array number. Now be very cautious. You have to use a single loop. You have to output the average of 50 numbers, and you can see the array name is already mentioned. So you are not going to change the array name at all. You have to actually be very cautious about. And these are your marking points. If the student has initialized the total to 0 before the do, means he will definitely score a mark. Appropriate loop controls. Now, very important thing is you have used the appropriate loop controls. Totaling statements inside the loop and must use array number with an index. Now you can see the index is very much to be used here. Calculation of average outside the loop. Again, important thing is you should not be saying that I've calculated the average. The average is calculated outside the loop. And output of average outside loop. So these are going to give you definitely your marking points. And here you can see it's a 5-mark question. So just an example, total equals to 0. For count equals to 1 to 50, since 50 numbers are supposed to be taken average of. And then total equals to total plus number counts. It's a very important thing is you can see for yourself that we have used the same variable as we have used in the for loop. And then next count, and please remember, again, I'm repeating, using variable with next is optional. You may be tricked in some of the exam questions that they have not mentioned the variable with next and you assume that that is an error. So please remember, writing variable with next is optional, but writing the variable with for is definitely compulsory. Okay, so you can see this is how you are going to score marks for each line written appropriately. An average equals to total upon 50. I mean, the best thing is do not use count. Simple, keep it simple. Output the average is, and you have to use the variable average. So this is how you can easily score 5 out of 5. By the way, yes, Ali, you have raised a very nice concern that no input is needed because they have mentioned it that the values have been stored in the array number. So this is how they are tricking the students, that have they understood the question or not. You're not supposed to use any input statement at all. There's no need actually. The variables are the data is already being stored into the in the array. You only need to average all the values already stored in the array. Easy? Yes, not difficult at all. Okay, that's wonderful. Now moving on to the next question. Describe the purpose of test data. Include an example of a type of test data in your answer. A very simple question. And if you can recall, we have talked about this, that you can easily score. If you have mentioned that why do we use a test? Why do we use test data? If you have mentioned it accurately, the description is mentioned accurately, that check that the program works as expected. Definitely, we are performing this testing just to ensure that whatever program we have made, is it working as we wanted, as we desired. Check for logic or runtime errors. Definitely the logic errors, syntax errors are definitely known when you are running the program, but logic errors are definitely found when you are performing when you are performing the testing phase. When you are entering some test data, then you can go for checking the logic errors or the runtime errors. Check that the program rejects any invalid data that is input. Checks that the program only accepts the reasonable data, or it is going to only accept the data that is valid data. So this is how you will describe. And since it's a 3-mark question, means that there will be 2 marks for writing down the proper description. Include an example, means one example that you can mention with respect to, even a student can say normal data, and the student can say abnormal data, a third student can say extreme data, and the one can say boundary data. So they all are writing down the correct answers, for example, and they can write it in their own words, but they need to mention this thing that they the description should contain these key points, that what is the purpose of using test data in your program. Okay, easy. I mean, you may have written your answers in your own way, perfect. Definitely your language may be a little bit different, but you should be concentrating on the key concepts. So here the marking scheme is just dealing with the key concept that they want from the students. Okay, easy. Okay, now question number 4. A 3-mark question, answered accurately. 2 marks for description, 1 mark for example. You have gained 3 out of 3. Describe how variables and constants are used in programming. So again, you can see variables, constants are used to store items of data. The data stored in variables and constants are accessed by an identifier. I mean, definitely you need to access them by using a certain variable name or a constant name. The value of a variable may change during the execution of the program. So important thing is that it may change. The value of a constant will remain same during the execution of the program. It never changes. So if you have mentioned these 3 points, any of these 3 points, because they're asking about the use of variables and constants in programming. Why do we need and how do we use it? What is the purpose of using a variable or a constant here? So is it easy? I mean, and by now we are very much okay with the use of variables and constants. So you all must have answered it accurately, and you all must have scored 3 out of 3 in this part, in this question. Question number 5. A food ordering system is an example of a computer system that is made up of subsystems. The food ordering system allows the user to enter the details of the food they want to order and to pay for the order, displays food available as pictures or as list, and complete the structure diagram for the given parts of the food ordering system. Now here you can see, here the question is, like here just for the purpose of making you understand, I have highlighted or have made the key terms bold. So you can see for yourself, it's very easy to answer this sort of question. It's very easy, believe in me. If you have actually followed the instructions, it will become very easy for you. So you can see 1 mark is for a suitable hierarchical structure. We have mentioned it accurately. 1 mark for suitable names for the subsystems for user input and display options. 1 mark for subsystems for user inputs, which is choice of display, food order, and payment. And 1 mark is for subsystems for display output types, pictures, and lists. So this is how you can easily score 4 out of 4. Food ordering system was given to you. Now let's see the example. Just an example is mentioned because they are going to assess the student's performance based on these 4 key points, these 4 marking points. Food ordering system was given to you as the first, you can say this first level. Now, on the left-hand side, there is one user input drawn, and on the right-hand side, it's showing you the display. And this is what we've obtained here from here. To enter the details, a person can say user input, and the student can write enter the details. That's perfectly okay, because and remember the position also. Definitely inputs come first, processes in the middle, and then you have output in the end. So this is very important that whenever you are answering, you need to see that this is what is going to be the main thing that you need to work on. After this user input, you can see what is the user input, the food, and allow the user to enter the details of the food they want to order and to pay for the order. Now, this is display choice. Definitely, if a person is supposed to order the food, how will he order if there's no display of the choices? So that is why the first thing is going to be the display of the choices that is displayed on the screen so that the person can choose from. Then they are going to go for the placement of the order. So that is why the second is food order. And lastly, we have payment. So here you can see very important thing that you need to see is that you are going to use the right things. You can see This one is going to be your first choice. This one will be your second choice. And this one will be your third choice. This is coming from here. Enter the details is your first key point. They want to order. They want to order definitely. They need to see and only then they can order. See? And once you have seen, place the order, then you have to pay for the order. So that is why this user input has three options: display choice, food order, and payment. Understood? Any questions? Are we clear with the left-hand side of our structure diagram? Okay, now on the right-hand side, it's display food available as pictures or as list. So just for the purpose of making you comprehend, this is what is done here that you can see for yourself. The display is your option on the right-hand side, display options. And here it can be the pictures or the list. A person may have a list shown to him to choose from, or a person may have the pictures. So these both are the options that are available to the user. So in this manner, you can easily score 4 out of 4. If you have paid attention, the way I have told you, underline the key concepts. And if you have written it accurately, then you are definitely going to score 4 out of 4. So just be cautious of these things the way I have taught you. Underline the key things, take time, draw with pencil. If you are happy with your working, if there's no ambiguity, no problem, then go with the final with your pen if you want to, but still you can draw with a pencil and be very neat in your work. Okay, understood? Any questions before I proceed to the next question? None? Okay, that's great. Now let's move on to the next question before we now. The energy efficiency of an electrical appliance is the percentage of useful energy out compared with the total energy in. I mean, the ones who are working with your physics work, then you must be okay with this concept that energy efficiency is going to be the percentage of useful energy out compared with the total energy in. An algorithm has been written in pseudocode to calculate the energy efficiency of an appliance. Values for total energy in and useful energy out are input. Efficiency is calculated and output as a percentage. Entry of number -1 for either value stops the algorithm. Now see, this is the description given to you. First, they have talked about the efficiency, calculation of efficiency, what is it? How do we do it? And then they're talking about the pseudocode that is written here to calculate the energy efficiency of an appliance. Values to be entered are total energy in and useful energy out, which are input by the user, and then efficiency is calculated and output as a percentage. When the number -1 is entered, it will stop the process. -1 entered in either of the two values. Now, let's first read the question, and then we move on to the identification of the errors. Repeat. Line number 1. Output, enter total energy in. Then we have input total energy in. Line number 4, output, enter useful energy out. Line number 5, output useful energy out. 6, if total energy is in is not equal to -1 and useful energy is not equal to -1, then efficiency equals to useful energy out divided by total energy in into 100. And placement of brackets, output efficiency is efficiency, the variable, then comma, and then the percentage written in the quotations. And if until total energy in is not equal to -1 or useful energy out is not equal to -1. Now let's see. They are saying that there are 3 errors in the pseudocode and suggest corrections. While I was reading, you must have seen that there are some mistakes. I mean, I'm reading it for you so that you can comprehend it easily, a little faster, a little better. Repeat and until. Line number 1 is repeat and line number 11 is until. Fine. Output enter total energy in, input total energy in. output enter total useful energy out, output useful energy out. So this is actually a problem. Correctly identify that this is actually a problem, that this should not be output, it should be input. Now this is your problem identification. Good. And this is how you will do it. Now let's move further. If total energy in is not equal to -1 and useful energy is not equal to -1. So what is striking your mind? See variables. Again, a hint I've told you while we were learning how to find out errors in the pseudocode. So just remember that maybe there are some mistakes in the variables. So here, total energy in and useful energy out are the variables. And here you can see it's written useful energy. It means that this is a problem. It should have been useful energy out, and that is why this line number 6 also has an error. So this is what you have identified, and you have done the work. Then efficiency, this line is, seems to be correct. Line number outline also appears to be correct because efficiency is to be output. That's why this line number 9 is correct. And diff again placed properly. Now, 11, line number 11, until total energy in is not equal to -1. See, the entry of -1 for either value stops the algorithm. So if I say until total energy in is not equal to -1, so definitely input energy is not equal to -1. Fine. So what will happen? The condition, remember, until works when condition is, yes, when condition is false, the condition is true. When does it work? Yes, correct. Until works when condition is false. It stops working when condition becomes true. So here the condition is, and total energy is not equal to -1, condition is true. So definitely a person has entered maybe a value 5 or maybe a value 10 or whatever. So the condition is true here, so it will stop working. So that is why the error is here. So you have identified line number 11 also has an error, and you are going to figure out that this is a problem actually. Understood? Now let's see, how will you do it? Understood it correctly? Line number 5, line number 6, and line number 11 have errors, and let's identify, we have identified them, and let's work on them. Let's move down. Now let's see, how will we solve this one? Identified, and now we are going to move here. Line 5, as we told earlier, useful energy out is to be input. That's why we have identified line number 1 has an, line number 5 has an error. We wrote the statement and then input written correctly. Then line number 5, after line number 5, line number 6 had an error. If total energy in is not equal to -1 and useful energy is not equal to -1, we have corrected it. If total energy in is not equal to -1 and useful energy out is not equal to -1, the error was in the variable. And line number 11, until total energy equals to -1 or useful energy out is equal to -1. So the use of not equal to was incorrect. We have replaced the equals to, and now our correction will be like our error detection and the correction will be accepted, and we will easily score 3 out of 3. Easy, isn't it? Yes, that's great. Write pseudocode for an efficiency of 92% or write pseudocode to check for an efficiency of 92% or over for this appliance and to output A-rated if the efficiency is 92% or over. Now you can see it's very simple. For example, you have to use, please be cautious, you have to use the same variable. If efficiency is greater than or equal to 92, again you can see it's 92% or over, means 92 is inclusive. Although the word inclusive is not used here, but you can see 92% or over means 92 is a part of the same, can say, situation. If efficiency is greater than or equal to 92, then output A-rated, and if so simple. So there's 1 mark that you are going to score for checking the right condition, and another mark is for outputting the message properly if the condition is met. Now, okay, fine. Now that's great. By the way, a question is raised that why 92 is written, why not 92%? Yes, who can answer? Why is it so that we have written 92 and not 92%, although the question had 92%? So why haven't we included the percentage symbol? Anyone? Okay, now that's great. Excellent. Emma, that you have remembered that we are just checking the variable's value. We never check the symbols, we never check the signs, we never check the units, because these units are only for the humans. So actually, it's just checking of the value greater than or equal to 92 is correct. So if a student has written by mistake percentage symbol also, you will not score the right the marks at all for that particular line, because you need to be cautious that it's only 92 that is supposed to be checked and not 92%. Percentage symbol is not supposed to be mentioned here. Easy? Understood? Now your favorite, isn't it? Consider this logic expression: x equals to a or not b, and b and not c. Now see, this is how you can score 5 if you have drawn the right symbols and if you have made the right lines. Here you can see A or not B, A or not B. B has a not symbol, then we have it connected to the OR gate, and then this is going to the AND gate. So in this manner, we are done with the drawing of this part of our logic circuit. Easy? Then we are moving on to the second bracket, B and not C. So you can see here, just be very cautious. The line is supposed to be drawn from here before the NOT gate, please. After the NOT gate means it is not B for both, which is the wrong thing. Not B is only used once, and this second bracket is not using not B at all. That is why the symbol, the line will be drawn from here, and you're going to connect it to the AND gate. And here you can see the not with C is there, only one input, again, remember. And then we are connecting it to the AND gate, and the output from it is going to the last AND gate. So in this manner, you can easily score 5 out of 5 if you have drawn the logic circuit appropriately, and like you have drawn the lines properly, you have drawn the symbols properly. Be very cautious with the use of the symbols also, and then you have scored 5 out of 5. Okay, now, any questions? Okay, that's great. We are now, mashallah, quite well versed with logic gates, so now no more queries regarding how to draw. That's wonderful. Complete the truth table from the given logic expression. Now, just for the purpose of making you comprehend, I've copied it here, and see how is it being done. X equals to A or not B, and B and not C. So just for the purpose of making you comprehend, what is done first is not B is done first, then A or not B is done, then not C is done, and then B and not C is done. Okay? Wonderful. That's great. Wonderful. Excellent. Now, let's very quickly recap that whether is this what we have learned? Is this what we have answered or not? Now, let's move on to our working. First thing is we have the not B. So here we referred entirely to this B, and we have performed the not operation on this, and we have obtained the not B. 0, 1, 0 became 1, 1 became a 0, 1 became a 0, 0 became a 1, 0 became a 1, and 1 became a 0, and 1 became a 0. So not B is 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. Any questions? Then after that, we are going to now connect A with this A or, you can see A or not B, and here you can see 0 or 1 is a 1. 0 or 1 is a 1. 0 or 0 is a 0. 0 or 0 is a 0. 1 or 1 is a 1. 1 or 1 is a 1. 1 or 0 is a 1. 1 or 0 is a 1. So in this manner, you have actually found the result of A or not B. This is your working, and you are done with this part. Any questions? Just the use of the gates that you need to know, the truth tables of the gates that you need to know, and you are done with your work. Yes? Okay. Now moving on to the next bracket, B and not C. So what is done first is not C. For this, we have referred to this, and you can see the C is completely reversed. So here we can see 0 reversed became a 1, 1 reversed became a 0, 0 not applied a 1, 1 not applied a 0, then 0 became a 1, 1 became a 0, 0 became a 1, and 1 became a 0. So in this manner, your output for not C is 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. Okay. Then we are now going to refer to B and not C. Now we are going to perform the AND operation here on this. Like here, now we will check this B and we will check this not C. And we will apply the AND operation. So B is 0 and not C is a 1. So 0 and 1 is a 0. Fine. Similarly, 0 and 0 is a 0. 1 and 1 is a 1. 1 and 0 is a 0. 0 and 1 is a 0. 0 here and 0 is a 0. 1 here and 1 is a 1. 1 here and 0 is a 0. So in this manner, please be cautious. I suggest that you better keep your hand or maybe your scale on the columns that are not supposed to be used so that you will not make a mistake at all. So here we are working on B and not C. So we refer to these two columns only, the column for B, the column for not C, and then we have obtained the answer for these. Clear to everyone? And then for the final one, what are we doing is we are now going to apply the last thing on these two. Now this is my outcome from A or not B, B and not C. And now I will apply the AND operation on these two. 1 and 0, a 0, 1 and 0, a 0, 0 and 1, a 0, 0 and 0, a 0, 1 and 0, a 0, 1 and 0, a 0, 1 and 1 is a 1, and 1 and 0 is also a 0. So in this manner, if you have done the work with caution, you will definitely score full marks in this question. Isn't it easy? Any questions? Just follow the instructions so that you are definitely going to score full marks in this question. Can I move on to the next one? Yes? Okay, that's wonderful. Now let's move on to the flowchart, your favorite one, isn't it? The flowchart represents an algorithm to find the average value of a number of sales. Now let's learn the flowchart. Let's understand the flowchart so that if something similar to this one come in your paper, for drawing purpose even, you will be able to draw. Start. This is the symbol for your, you know it very well. This is the symbol for your what? What is the purpose that we are using it for? Yes, this is your symbol for process. That's wonderful. Here we have initialized two variables. Number sales equals to 0, total equals to 0. Input sale value. This is the input box. Is sale value equals to 0? Yes. Average is calculated, output, and stop. If this is not the case, we are moving down and we are increasing the process. We are increasing the value of number sales equals number sales plus 1. Total equals to total plus sale value. By the way, just asking which process is used here. If anyone asks you which line or which box is actually talking about the which box is like the way we have talked about this box is doing the initializing. So what is this process box doing? Just recall your learning. That's great, wonderful. We have just revised it right now. It's basically the counting because same variable written twice plus 1 is counting. That's wonderful. And what about this process box? What is happening here? Total equals to total plus sale value. It's totaling. That's wonderful. So you can get a question like that also. So since you have learned, so you can answer, you can get a question in any form and you'll be able to answer. If that is the case, then now moving back to the flow chart, is sale value equals to 0? No. Moving down, the value of number sale is increased by 1. The value of total is also increased, and we are moving back to the next input. And this process will continue. Now let's move on to the trace table. Complete the trace table using this data. Now this is the data given to me. First value is 5.50, 3.40, 6.25, 3.85, minus 11, 0.00, and 0. Now moving on to the trace table. Number sales is 0, total 0 because of the two values being mentioned here. Input sale value. So with this one, what will input will be this first value, which will move to our variable sale value. So you can see sale value is now holding 5.50. Is sale value 0? No. It is going to move down, and number sales variable will be increased by 1. So number sales variable was holding 0, plus 1 will become 1. So here you can see number sales has become 1. Then total will be total plus sale value. Sale value is 5.50, total was 0. So 5.50 added to 0 makes it 5.50. In this manner, you got total as 5.50. Understood? Easy. Any questions? Oh, now okay, now you must have done it. So let's see. Next is the input taken once again. The second value is 3.40. And this is to be mentioned in your sale value column because this is sale value. Now again, it is checked, not 0, definitely not. It's going to move down, and number sales will be increased by 1, and number sales will become 2 here. Plus 1, 1 plus 1 will become 2. Total will be increased, again 5.50. You can see here, this is what you will do actually. You will add these two, and you will get the result here. So this is what is going to be your working. 5.50 plus 3.40 will give the value of 8.90. I mean, again, very easy calculations. Don't get confused. Calculator not allowed. Perfect. Calculations are so simple, isn't it? I mean, it's simple math. So now you are done with 8.90 by adding 5.50 with 3.40, and the result is written in your total column. Moving back, input sale value 6.25. Now the next input is 6.25, as you can see. Now again, not equal to 0, moving down, number sales increase becomes 3, and total will be, now again, you are now going to add 8.90 plus 6.25, and you get 15.15. Okay? Just relax yourselves. It's very simple calculations, not to worry about, not to actually be concerned that it's without calculator, how will I do it? It's so simple calculations. Done? Now moving back to the next value input, it's 3.85. And then you can see 3.85 is the next input. Again, this is added to this, and you get the answer that is written here. Okay, 15.15 plus 3.85 will give you 19.00. And please be a little cautious, since all the data items are mentioned with the decimal part, although the value is not containing a decimal part as such. Like you can see very rightly pinpointed by Ali in the beginning, that is holding minus 11. It's actually minus 11. So why minus 11.00? Is because the value is written in the same format. It's a real value, and that is why all the values are supposed to have two decimal places. That's why you can see 5.50 is written here, 3.40 is written here, and 11.00 is written here. Fine? Understood? Now moving on to this one, you can see 19.00 is going to be the final answer after you have added 15.15 and 3.85, which is the next input given. Then it's moved back, it is moving back, and the next input is taken, which is minus 11. Minus 11 is again input, and you can see 19 minus 11, you all know that 19 plus 19 minus 11 will give you the will actually result in subtraction process, and you will get 8.00, and your value is this much total calculated, and the value of definite number sales is definitely changing. It's increasing every time the transaction is performed. The value of number sales will be increasing by 1. So the final value, once you are done with all the transactions, is 5. The final answer is 5. Now moving on to the next input taken, it's 0. Now you can see, is sale value equals to 0? Yes. So here it moves here and the average is calculated. And what is average? Total over number sales. Total is your 8. Number sales is going to be your value 5. So that's why you have to be very cautious. And you are going to divide 8 by 5. And what you obtain is 1.6. That is to be written in the average column. And then output, this output column will contain average sale value. And then you will simply write down the average value. Please be cautious. This comma is just separating the two values, the message and the variable. So the comma will not come here. Okay? Comma will only be there to separate that the two values, the string value, which is the message, and the variable value also. So that is how you can easily score your marks if you have mentioned everything appropriately. Any questions? By the way, is this question dealing with some data items which seem to be not of the right, you can say they're don't seem to be right? Okay. And definitely, how is it possible that input sale value is a negative value? That's very, very rightly seen by some students. That's wonderful. Now let's move back to our next question. Any questions before we proceed to the next part of the question? Yes, are we clear? Are we all clear about it? Okay. Now the next part is dealing with identify the error in the algorithm and describe how to correct it. So there are basically 4 marks that we'll obtain if you have mentioned all columns appropriately, like number sales is handled properly, total is handled properly, sale value, and 1 mark, more mark is for the columns, average and output. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. In this manner, you can easily score 1 mark for columns. So 3 marks are for this one, and 1 mark is for this one. So in this manner, you can easily score 4 out of 4. The error identified appropriately. The error is that you have found the negative values, and definitely sale values are never going to be negative. I mean, as said, there's no handling of the negative, that the negative numbers should not be accepted by the program. I mean, there's no concept of handling the negative itself. I mean, that makes sense. How can sale value be negative? How will you correct it? 1 mark for correct place and 1 mark for the appropriate action. So this is how you can score, by identifying the error, that what the error is. For example, you have included that including the negative numbers is an error basically, and correction is going to be 1 mark is for the correct placement and 1 mark is for the proper action. So you have written the proper action, you have written the proper placement, you will easily score 2 out of 2 for the correction. Marks are distributed in this manner. For example, after the input box is taken, after the input is taken, you will definitely be inserting a decision box, and this decision box will be ignoring or rejecting all the negative numbers. Okay, so they have only asked you to mention the error and its correction. No need to draw the diagram at all. Please be cautious. They have not even asked us to write down the corrected statement also. They've only asked us to describe. So be cautious. If they say describe, they want the students to describe. Okay, any questions? Okay, that's wonderful. A shop, question number 9, a shop that sells books has set up a new database table called book list to store book details. Part of the table is given. Here you can see the table. Now, state the number of records in this part of the database table. So what have we learned? How will we be identifying and counting the total number of records? Yes, I hope that we all know it. 1, is it 31? At a glance, it seems to be, now maybe some students have written 31. Be cautious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, after that, you can see some books are not containing the right order. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So the number of records in this table is, in this part of the database table is 20. Got it? Yes? Any issues? So I will write down 20 here. Give the name of the field that would be used for the primary key. Now, which field do you think is the primary key? Out of these, Catano, title, fiction, author, paperback, price, and stock level. Which one seems to be the right choice for the primary key? Definitely Catano. No other except for Catano, and reason why. That's wonderful, as it stores unique values for each book. It's not containing any duplication. It's containing all the unique values. That is why the reason you will mention, I mean, it's a unique identifier, or anyone can say no repeated values, or you can say it is always storing a unique value for each book. So this is how you will score 1 out of 1 for identifying the proper field, and then identifying the reason, writing down the reason. Easy? Now, complete the table to identify the most appropriate data type for each field based on the data shown in the table. So you look at the table I showed you. Cateno is definitely containing BK, and then the values are a digit, 2 digits. So that is why it's a text field. So a student can write text, or he can write alphanumeric. They both are correct. Title again is containing the letters. That's why it is going to be text value. Fiction. Now let's move back to fiction and let's see what fiction contains. The ones who have observed, that's wonderful. You can see fiction is containing a yes or a no. And that is why the most appropriate one is Boolean. That's why it is Boolean. And price, it's holding a decimal part. That's why it's real. Okay, so that is how you can easily score 2 out of 2 just by mentioning the right data type. Easy? Okay. Write the output from the structured query language statement. Now, this is what is required. Select Cateno, comma title, comma author from book list where stock level equals to 0. Now, I'm going to move back to the table structure so that I can work with you. But remember, we are going to show Cateno, title, and author where all the values with stock level is a 0. Now, let's move to this one. I'll identify all those records where stock level is 0. So stock level 0 is here, and stock level 0 is here. So what I identified is, I identified these two values. This one is identified, and this one is identified. And what they wanted to get the field of Cateno. They wanted the field of the name and the author. So these were the 3 fields that were required. So just remember that this is what you have ticked, you have paid attention, and this is what you will identify and write. Be cautious. How to write it. First record is PK08, The Princess's Story, B pen. Second record meeting the criteria is BK31 as a Cateno, networking for beginners, and the author is A. Smith. Any issues? Have you understood how to solve the question? Yes? Okay, now we are moving back and we are going to write down the answer. Now let's see how will we do it. We are going to write down BK08, The Princess's Story, B pen. The way you can see, comma again separates, no need to put the comma. And once the line is over for one record, then you are going to move to the new line and write down the details of the second record. So simple. Just follow the instructions. Complete this SQL statement. Any questions? And then you are done with your 2 marks. Complete the SQL statement to display all the titles by the author B pen. Now here you have to fill in with the right value. Select title because they wanted the title only. From book list is the table name where the condition is author equals to B pen. Or the student can write down author equals to B pen within single quotes, and the student can say author like B pen. That they all are correct options. If a student has written within double quotations for author, that's perfectly okay. And the student wrote within single quotation, that's perfectly okay. The student used like, that's perfectly okay. Are you clear? Any issues? Okay, now that's wonderful. Now let's move on to the Question number 10. The variables x, y, and z are used in program. X stores a whole number, y stores a decimal number, and z stores a flag that can be set to true or false. Write pseudocode statements to declare the variables x, y, and z. Declare, 3 marks. Declare x colon integer because it's a whole number. Declare y colon real because it's storing a decimal number. Declare z colon boolean because it's storing a flag, and the flag is holding a true or a false. Are you clear? See, so simple. By the way, again, correctly taken. Can I use declarations with one declare statement here? Is it possible? No, that's wonderful. But why? Excellent, Ali, because it's different data types. What we have learned is if the data types are same, then we can use one declare to declare multiple variables. That's possible, but that is when the data types are same. Since the data type are different, you can see one is integer, second one is real, third one is Boolean. So that is why we have to use separate declare statements. Okay? That's wonderful. Be cautious, and 3 marks are yours. The function same, a comma b returns true if the value of a is the same as the value of b when b is rounded to the nearest whole number, and false otherwise. Now, write pseudocode statements to define the function, call the function with x and y, and store the result, the return value in z. Now, this is your requirement. First question, let's try to understand. Function is same. It's receiving two values, two parameters, and it's returning the function. The function is returning the value of true or false. That's why you can see the first line is function same, a colon integer, b colon real. So this is basically the value of a and b. They are written here. Returns Boolean because the value is returned as a true or a false. That's why it returns Boolean. Now, what are we doing? Returns true if the value of a is the same as the value of b when b is rounded to the nearest whole number. Definitely, this indicates that b is not a whole number. B is basically a sort of a real value. That is why we are just checking that is it same? Are they same? For example, 10 and 10.0. 10 is in A, 10.0 is in B, for example. They are same. Okay. Now, function same. A colon integer, B colon real returns Boolean if A equals to round B comma 0. Now, there are different ways of doing it. Just an example is mentioned here. If A, the value that is stored in A is the same as the value of B rounded to the nearest value is going to be the same, then return true, else return false, end if, end function. So function starts here with a condition. We are ending it with end function. That's all. And function is called, again, remember, function is called. Function statement says they're calling the function with x and y as the parameters and storing the result, returning value in z. So that is why z is coming here. Arrow, the assignment operator, same is the function name, called with the values of x and y. Is it easy? A 6-mark question. I mean, just within 2 minutes, you can score 6 out of 6 if you have understood the way how to handle the functions and how to call them. State the difference between defining and calling a function. Now, here you are supposed to write down the difference. A function is defined once and called many times, or you can say setting up the function is called defining the function and calling is using a function. So a student can say function is defined once and called many times. He's going to score 1 out of 1. Or in the student can say define is setting up the function and call is using a function. So with this defining, what happens is you are setting up the values, you're setting up the whole process. You're just talking about that how will you work on it. You're defining it. And once you are done with your setting up the function, then you are going to call it as many times as you need to. Fine? Any questions regarding this paper? And you can easily score 1 out of 1. Isn't it easy? And since I've mentioned state, that's where you can simply write down a few key points and then you will score 1 out of 1. Just be cautious. You have to answer based on the number of marks. You pay attention to the question, whether it's describing or whether it's asking for you to state only, and the marks also. Look at the marks, look at the keywords, and then you will be able to score. Now, is it easy? Okay, now that's wonderful. Jazakallah khairan kaseera for being a part of the learning journey. If you have understood well, that's very good. Please subscribe the channel, share this channel details with your friends and family so that they all are going to benefit from it. And do not forget to click on the bell icon that you are getting the latest updates of all the videos that are uploaded in future. Allah Hafiz.